For those of you who don't know me, I'm Steve, and this is Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. This is Steve.
And we're here to talk about PowerShell loving Intune and how we're going to measure twice and deploy once.
So we kind of came up with the session title and didn't really know what it meant. So last week, we spoke on the phone for about 5 minutes and came up with an idea. So this is kind of what we're going to talk about. I think the primary proposal here is that, I don't even think we've got like a one-liner, is that...
Sort of, I think we do. It's part of that problem statement, which we'll get into.
Sure, okay. You drive.
So obviously, anybody here, well, I'm assuming most people here know about Intune and what it is and all of the magic that it is. The concepts we're going to talk about today aren't just on Intune, it's Graph and PowerShell. So this is where we're sitting in there and going, well, we've done this for Intune, and you can use and reuse as much of what we've used anywhere else on that Graph platform, even Azure.
Yes, correct. Now, before we continue talking, I'm going to do a thing.
Okay, let's do a thing.
Sponsors are really important. They make this conference
incredible. Especially the middle one?
Nah, they're not that important. But no, honestly, like I just heard that like this whole floor being just for us was because of the sponsors. So like, again, really important. So go and get all their merch. Patch My PC have got a lot of rubber duckies and we've got to get rid of them.
And hats. They don't want
and
the
hats. Exactly.
Take the hats.
So yeah, thank you. Okay, next one. All right, so a little bit about us, because we've said the thing. Maybe you don't know Steve, maybe you don't know me. Steve, talk about yourself.
I work at Microsoft. It's this little startup you might know of.
Show off.
In the MMD space. So most people won't know what MMD is. Don't feel bad. It's a little small product that we're currently incubating called Microsoft Managed Desktop, where we do device management for computers. Go figure. You can find me in the community at Intune.training. And you can find me on Twitter at OnPremCloudGuy.
Cool. And me, I've done this a million times. I'm an MVP in enterprise mobility. Intune is my primary thing. I work at Patch My PC. I am the resident Australian, so I just swear a lot and drink too much beer. I'm an unpaid intern at Intune Training.
You are?
Yeah.
Although I'm an unpaid founder of Intune.training, so...
Exactly. So I write articles and stuff at powershell.com, and I put all of my code, including the code that's going to be shown today, on my GitHub at tabs, not spaces. I have Twitter as well. It's there. Exciting.
Yeah, so this side, you want to go for Intune on-prem cloud guy, not PowerShell?
I'm really close to having more followers than him, so if you don't follow me. Okay, so the agenda, really quickly we'll run through this. So we're going to talk about the problem statement. Which is, we've got 3 demos and they all sort of follow a path. We're going to talk about as-built reporting, so like how, like, functionally...
So, from an as-built point of view, how many people in the room are consultants?
Wow, that's really not as much as I thought.
I was expecting a lot more consultants, to be completely honest, but I can be a little bit more jokey about it. How many people have received an awesome as-built document from their consultants?
So,
apparently.
Yeah, I've heard rumors of it, but I've never really seen it myself. So, okay, we're going to talk about how you can create an as-built report with PowerShell. So you can set up an Intune environment and literally just hit this thing and like have a PDF file to give to your customer and walk away and go, I don't need to explain this, you just wanted the as-built document. I'm not a consultant anymore, so I can say that it's terrible.
Yes. But the one thing I'm going to call out, and when you go and download the scripts from Ben's repo, there are things that need to be fixed.
Sure,
that we found out last week.
They're fixed now. They're fixed. I put in a thing.
You did that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Sure, totally.
So the key point, and I think we sort of maybe glossed over this, is that, so we're going to talk about this as-built report, but then we're going to talk about how, because I've done the work to build this as-built report, I can then reuse chunks of that code for other things. So the key thing here is measure once, do the work, understand how the thing works, and then you can reuse that code in different ways and like essentially get paid for doing the work once and never having to do it again.
Exactly. And the important part underneath that is that modularization of that code.
Yes.
Because if you write a top-down script, go on off and create your as-built report, You can't reuse that.
Yeah, exactly. So tool building is really important. I think hopefully that's the primary conceit of what we're going to talk about today.
Fingers crossed.
Exactly. So once we've done our as-built report, we're going to export the PowerShell script, and then we're going to do a little bit of change alerting, or like who to blame when things don't work. And then maybe if we have time, Q&A. We'll see.
And also, if you do have any questions as we go along, throw your hand up.
Yeah.
We like being interrupted. Well, one of us does.
One of us does. You? Me?
Me. Apparently,
Sure.
I think me.
Okay. So, as I said, 3 things. So the customer has come to us and said the problem statement. So what's the problem statement?
Well, you've done the work. Show me what you've actually done so I can have auditability. It's that trust but verify. How do I know you've actually done something in my environment? Show me that config.
Okay, so what are the challenges with doing an as-built report for Intune? Well, I mean, first of all, the easiest way to do this is with Graph, but that's not easy if you've never used Graph before.
Yep.
Again, everything that I talk about is PowerShell and Graph, so like I'm very used to this, but I understand that there's not everyone spends this much time getting in and sort of understanding the framework, so that's a hurdle that you need to get past. Each endpoint potentially consumes and releases data and like works with the data slightly different. The framework is standardized, but there's fun little intricacies because it's such a broad product and there's so many people working on it, so many different product groups that it can be a little tricky. So thank you, Microsoft. It's great.
You're welcome.
Oh, okay, cool. And then finally, like again, Graph is cool. I sort of understand it. But for getting into it, the documentation, and this is important, it's all auto-generated. So sometimes it's not perfect. Now, the cool thing about that is that it's all in GitHub. So if you're going through the documentation and you're trying things and they don't work the way that the document states, you can go in and do a pull request, get that uploaded, and then you'll get kudos and everyone will thank you for like fixing this automatic generated content and you can make it better for everyone else.
Yep.
So it's an annoyance, but it's also an opportunity for you guys to help contribute to the community.
Please do that.
Exactly. Okay, click, do the thing. Nope.
Too much.
I did it too much. Okay, so as-built reporting.
Ooh, a demo.
We love demos.
That's really cool. It's great.
It's good. Okay, so let's see how this works. I don't know what's going on here. This is Matthias, by the way. I don't know whether he's feeling better. Okay, so I think I have the thing here. This is definitely the wrong one.
So it's split your screen extended.
Oh, sure.
Because PowerPoint's awesome, and it'll automatically go and extend it even if you want it just on a single screen. Is
that better?
Yes.
Okay, I need to open another one of these.
Okay.
File.
That's a lot of stuff.
It is. This one, I think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Sure.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll figure it out. Okay, so demo 1. Really complicated code here, guys. We're going to go here. And girls. People. So I'm just going to quickly run this. .wt. What does .wt do? This is all I have. I'm going to copy this script as well because I don't want to write it myself. Click F8. It opens Windows Terminal. That's all I need to do.
Terminal.
Demo done. Awesome. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the intricacies of what this module does, but I wrote an as-built document that is a module that is available on the PowerShell gallery. It's just called intune.reporting. And to be fair, I've only just done a PR on this recently, and prior to that, I haven't touched it in 3 years. So there's a lot that needs to be sort of tweaked and improved, and there's new endpoints that I'm not currently calling. But functionally, the idea here is that you can run this thing, authenticate, and pull down every single setting and configuration item that you've ever done, including the JSON object behind it. And if there's PowerShell scripts or things, it will pull those down as well. So you can get all that code that you've done, as well as just giving out a PDF to your customers.
And if you feel like committing code to the actual repo, Ben will very much accept the pull request.
Yeah, for sure. Is that readable? Everyone can see that?
Yeah, I can.
Cool, you can see it?
Everybody at the back can read that?
It's less important for you. It's
oh,
other people.
okay. I've already seen it.
Sure.
Apparently.
So we're literally, so build Intune config report. The tenant is intune.training. I'm just going to dump this out to a folder on my C drive. There's the ability to pick and choose the parts of the report that you want. So if you don't need all of it, you can just get like the ADMX policies or the scripts, or so it's modular, or you can just get everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this, and we'll see what happens.
And we do a dance, and we wait.
Okay, so now we're in the auth code dance. Fun time,
Yay.
happy. So this is important. I'm using the MSAL, PowerShell, MSAL.ps module for authentication. In PowerShell 7, if your app registration doesn't have native code redirect URIs configured, PowerShell 7 and MSAL will just throw a fit. To get around that, you do device code flow, which literally will just give you a code, and then you go in, put that code in, and then you authenticate, and it's just, the design is for things that cannot authenticate themselves or do not have a browser. So we're kind of getting around that today. I'm going to copy that, go in here.
So how many people know the difference between ADL and MSAL? I assume most people in the room, but just curious.
It's yup.
Oh, interesting. So ADL is the first authentication library that Microsoft released for Graph, AAD, and everything like that. It is currently being phased out for MSAL. So if you're using ADL in any of your projects, please move across to MSAL. You're going to have a better experience. It's a lot less code to actually do the authentication.
Yep. So the demo is running itself while Steve talks. So we're going through now and we're pulling down all the different policies. So we don't have any ADMX policies in our tenant.
Probably not.
Yeah. We got 6 autopilot policies.
That doesn't surprise me.
2 compliance policies, and I don't know why it's taking so long. Surely we don't have that many configuration items.
Of course we do. We have so many configuration policies because we just create them and orphan them.
How many do you think we have?
22.
22. We have 22. That was perfect timing.
I thought so.
Okay, awesome. So this is now going through and it's getting all of the things. It's going to take as fast as your internet takes to get the stuff. You can generally, like, the idea here is, and I've made it really nice so that you can see what it does, but like, you just run this in the background. You don't need to think about it too much. The way that the code reuse exists, you can just do this regularly and like potentially compare the differences and use that as a change log system. I think I did a session on change management back in 2019. Using this concept. So this is, again, this is really old code. I did not write this for this session, but the idea is that it's reusable. And again, that's really, really important. And I just, like, everyone keeps talking about this at the conference. And if that's the only thing you get from this, you've done well. It's been worth coming. So we'll just wait. We've got 17 applications.
That's a little low. I expected a lot
clean our
more.
environment up.
Well, yes, we really do. We still have like some really bad policies in there.
It's not great. So we'll just let this run. So it's generating the report. So everything's now downloaded. It's now just like compiling it into a Markdown file. Markdown's really important because Markdown's cool. There is a version of something similar to this in the gallery right now. So if you don't like Markdown, if you're not cool, that it will just create a document, like a Word document for you, which is also really cool. I just don't like Word or things. So
and there is actually a module that converts Markdown to Word documents as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, there is, 100%.
So if you need a Word document or a PDF, you can do that as well.
So we'll just give
this
putting
it out there.
a go. I don't know why it's taking so long. I guess because we have so many things.
Really high spec.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah, true.
It's got lots of RAM.
Yeah, it's got the things.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. I also started playing around with like same line editing, so it was like more Linuxy and fun. It's kind of cool. You can only do this in PowerShell 7. There's a bunch of specific things that this will only run in PowerShell 7. So if you guys are still using ISE in PowerShell 5.1, stop. This is way cooler. And then finally we have, the beer drinking. We're happy. The report is done. So let me go to that file.
So I've run this like right at the end of the conference, not the conference, the actual engagement, so I can turn around and go, oh, this is what I did. I definitely kept track of every bit of work that I did in your environment.
We want to go into data. Here's my backup in case that didn't work. We're going to go into reports, enter. So I've got the Intune training as the folder. So again, for the consultants in the room, you can use this for multiple tenants and it will just spin out and you'll have a folder full of all of your work that you've done.
The other thing that I will note on this as well, because we're exporting the configuration files, the JSON and everything like that, what it also means is you have a point in time configuration of your environment. So if one of your admin goes and tweaks a setting, you have the ability to turn around and go, well, that's not what we set it up initially as. Let's go and change it back.
Okay, so here is the document. Markdown, for those that have not used Markdown, this looks like just trash.
Looks awesome.
But what's cool about it is I can go up here, I can open this in preview, and it's a fully formed document already. All the tables are there. If you wanted to add a header to literally have your business name and go, here is the as-built, you're welcome, give me my money. You could do that with this. We got a lot of stuff. There's actually some really cool things in here that I want to maybe try and find that I was scrolling through, and let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. There's GIFs. We've got them on a bunch of the applications. We proved that you could put GIFs in the metadata of an application or a configuration policy, and they will render in Markdown. So there's just cats throughout this document. I kind of thought that was cute.
I like it.
So be careful with what you put in, because this document will get everything. So when you swear in the customer in the comments, yeah, it's going to be there. So this is fine. It's a Markdown file. You can then potentially go in and just go Markdown. You can print a HTML or PDF and sort of dump that out from VS Code, and then you just have this file that you can print and give to your customer. This is really verbose, and it's got every single setting and everything, all the assignment data and all that sort of fun stuff. But this works. So the initial problem was, what did you actually do here?
There you go.
You give them the thing.
There's my report. Done.
Job done. Sweet.
I'm walking out the door as I'm running the report.
Demo 1.
Done.
Done. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's do the thing.
And we're actually reasonably on time-ish.
Yeah, it's
adjacent.
Okay, so problem statement number 2. So a couple of weeks after you've done the as-built and you're done and dusted, and you hope that you're never going to hear from this customer again, moving on,
unless
shiny new things.
PO.
Unless you're a managed service provider, hey, the intern shipped a faulty script and now the office is on fire. Help. Like, what do? We gave the intern global admin, and he's doing things, and he's too scared to lose his job now, and he won't tell us what he did. How do we do that? So, what are the problems with doing this? So again, the idea here is that I've kind of already solved the issue, but the customer doesn't know that. So could we reuse the code from the reporting tool to just get the scripts?
Hot tip, yes, we can.
The answer is 100% yes. Without changing the code, you could literally just do a report on those scripts, and it will pull down every single script. But we're going to get a little more fun with that, because that'd be a pretty boring demo.
Yes.
So what's the process to find out what a script is and what it's doing, and how do we get that? So the key problem is that there's no way to actually look at the script in the Intune portal once it's uploaded. That's kind of a big thing for a lot of customers who aren't technically adept. Will go, they potentially don't trust what you've done without being able to see it. There's a reason for that. Initially, there was a way that you could go in and you could edit the scripts. The problem is that if you had code signing as an enforcement, if you changed the script in the portal, there was no way to re-sign the code. So that broke a lot of things. So that very, very quickly disappeared as an option. The takeaway, or the downside, is that they took away the preview mode. So there's no way to actually see it. So that's the biggest concern, and that's the user statement, is the intern's done something, he won't tell us, and we can't see.
Yep. And his laptop got formatted in the process, so we don't have a copy of the original
He's currently in a tunnel, and he's, unresponsive. Yeah. So, okay. We know that we can get that data because the report tool works, but if we just go into Graph and we have a look at the script object, the data is encoded, so you can't even see it. Now, it's just encoded in base 64. Hopefully everyone in here knows that base 64 is not actually secure, and it's very, very easy to just get rid of.
It isn't?
I don't know. I mean, I encode everything. All of my passwords, base 64.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the reference. I'll look that up.
So I'm going to show you how to decode that. So maybe I was lying, maybe I wasn't. Yeah. Okay, so they're the problems that we need to solve for the customer to make them happy. So again, hey, we love demos. Let's do the thing.
Yay, demo.
Okay, demo number 2. Let's see if this works. Matthias. Okay, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go into preview. And I'm going to close this. Okay, open. Do the thing. Demo 2. Okay, so I'm not going to go too in depth with this code, but again, if you want to talk about this stuff after the session, come and see me. All of this code is available on my GitHub. I can give you links and all that sort of fun stuff. But let's quickly step through what happens. So we've got one endpoint, so device management scripts. It's pretty self-explanatory what that is. Yep. We're going to get a token, so our MCell token. We're going to create the header. We're going to go in. We're going to hit that one endpoint. And then what we need to do is we need to get the result of that we then need to hit the actual, so we need the ID. Once we get the ID, then we step in and then we actually get that raw data that is encoded in base64. Once we've got that, the decode string is literally ASCII get string, system convert from base64 string. Again, really, really easy. Don't put your passwords in this stuff.
Please don't. Or if you do, let me know so I can.
Exactly. Don't lock your computers, is what I'm saying. So let's just run this and see what happens. F8 for authentication. Again, we're going to do the auth dance, so it's going to ask me to do this thing. Copy. We got yup, so we know we're authenticating.
To the right tenant.
Security is good. Continue. It'd be kind of funny if I did that for Patch My PC. Just have yup on the background. DJ, let's do that. Okay, cool. So we're authenticated.
Death metal, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so we've got our token. Just because auth is so much fun, let's have a quick look at what we've got with this. Here's our token here. Everyone take a screenshot and try and hack me.
Do it.
So, you know, we've got our
Clean up
access
some of
token,
our policies for
the
us.
expiration date, we've got the ID token, all that sort of stuff. You can even see the scopes. MCell is really, really cool. You can actually see what you're allowed to do. This is something that we use at Patch My PC so that we can actually interrogate what the auth token is and see whether you have the things that will make our product work. And if you don't, we'll just let you know, hey, you got a misconfiguration. So this is all because MCell is awesome. Cool, so we're going to go in, we'll just grab the header now. So we're going to generate the way the header looks. F8. We're going to generate this. So it's now getting all of the stuff. Let's have a look at the values and just see what we've got here.
It's already there.
Okay. So we've got all of the scripts that exist in our tenant, but again, note that we don't actually have any content. We've just got like the metadata of what the script is. The key thing is, yeah. So the key thing is we want the ID from this to then do the next call. So let's go ahead and do that. Very important script. That's not going to work. Nope. So I'm just going to, I just changed this 3 seconds before we came in. So 1 second. Drive mapping demo. Where is it? Event Hub demo. Oh my God, I can't see it.
Why don't you just do .file name?
I could do that. Hang on. What is it? Select ID. That's what I want. Okay, so hey, obvious virus.
It's not a virus. It's never a virus.
It's never a virus. So let me just, I'm just going to be sneaky here and just, okay, so I'm just going to change the script ID. F8, hard code all of your variables. It's very important to do that.
Yes, definitely hard code variables. It helps with code reuse.
It does. So we're going to change the script URI. So what we're doing now is we're stepping into the object to actually get the data. We're going to press F8. And then let's have a real quick look at what we get with this. Cool. Okay, so this is the object, and then we've got the script content. Now, depending on how large the script is, this will be small or large. Obviously, for whatever reason, the code that our intern wrote is very small.
There is a maximum size, which is 200K, isn't it?
Yes. So if you have this amazing script that does everything, and then your customer turns around and says, we also want code signing, there is a very real chance that the code signing blob token will get you over that threshold, and then you'll get hit in the head because it doesn't work. So fair warning, but that's not what this is about. Okay, so let's have a look at the script content, F8. And then we're going to decode that, and we're going to have a look at what it is. Okay, so it says, write host, hey Siri, give the people what they want, and then a weird link. I'm not clicking on that. That could be a virus. I mean, the file is literally obvious virus.
Just run it.
We'll go back to that later. I think right. Let's look at what the code is once we'll do that. Okay, so we now know what the name of the script was and what the content is. So as far as helping the customer, because all of their computers are now on fire, we've shown them what it is, and they can make a decision on what to do without actually having to rewrite any of the code. So that initial reporting framework tool that we spent months on has now essentially paid us twice, which is really important and really cool. And
obviously, as a consultant, it took us a full day to get all of that information out, right? Like,
exactly, yeah. Like, oh, we can give you that information, but it's going to be hard.
It's going to be tough.
Exactly. So you hit that, you go get a coffee, buy a hammock, lie down. You know, it's important work that we do. I'm not a consultant anymore.
No, neither am I. just calling that out.
Oh, they're the worst. Okay, so hey, demo 2. Done. We've got the script, we've got the file, we now know what to do. Potentially also from that, we could also get the assignment data so we can tell them, I mean, they can see that from the portal, but we could say, you know, this is the file, this is the script, and this is where it's going so that they can sort of know. You know, more information is good. All right, let's go on to...
Yeah, we're good.
Demo 3. Okay.
So
problem statement number 3.
How do we make sure it doesn't happen again? Like, how do we actually control this and have the intern, when they go and do their deployment, to all users or all devices, because that is such an appealing option of, well, of course it's got to go out to all users. And it's like, please don't. So how can we report on that? And, well, there's a couple of cool scenarios that we can leverage. So obviously there's those default diagnostics that we have in Intune, but they're not quick. What we can do though is we can hit the native audit logs. They pop up as soon as you do it. It captures who did the action and what action they took. That's easy, that's just a graphical. Very, very simple. You know, it's funny, you've talked about this audit log stuff so many times, and it's only until we started doing this that I actually used it. I'm like, wow, this is actually really cool. Yeah. So you get information on like whether a thing was created, edited, deleted. So you can actually go through, and it also has like blame data, so you can see who put the thing in. Yes. So like it's really, really robust, along with the ID of the thing that was created. And the task that was performed on it. So if they're going and updating it, it'll say update. If it was deleted, well, it was deleted. So for anyone following, that's the obvious one that we're going to use here. Yeah. But there are other scenarios that you could potentially use. One of them I started sort of diving into a little bit. There is an endpoint in Graph that allows you to subscribe to specific events. I thought that was our magic bullet. That, you know, it was literally, it's going to create a webhook, and when that ran, it would hit my function app, and everything was going to be great. Stuff. It's kind of limited, so it's not going to work for what we want here. But for things like Teams creations, user account creations, you can actually key off that event and do things. So it's cool. I'm going to try and reach out to the product group and beg them to increase the scope of that, because it would be really, really cool. So that didn't work. And then Steve had a great idea that why don't we use the Event Hub? Well, yeah, Event Hub's cool, right? Like everybody here has heard about Event Hub. It's where you just throw objects at it and it processes it. But Mr. Brick uses Event Hub. That was really, really cool. That demo was amazing. Exactly. So why don't we have pricing information here? Well, because it's very, very expensive. Like, it is not something that you run up in a lab and go, oh yeah, I'll just leave it running. I think Jakob was saying it was $300 a month just for his Mr. Brick demo or something? Yeah. So, you know, in this sort of scenario where you're potentially building something for the customer, and like, I mean, potentially you could use that and you could bill it to them and you could be happy, but like realistically, you're probably just going to host this for them and you don't want the added cost. So we want to do something that's cheap, fast, and efficient. So let's go with tracking with native audit logs, because they're there. Let's just reuse the stuff. We're all at essentially a development conference. So let's build some tooling around this. Now, demo 3. Yay. We love demos. 3 demos in one session. That's go figure. A lot. So essentially, what we're going to do here is very, very similar to the first session that I did on Monday. Yeah, it was. No, it was Monday. It was Monday. It's yesterday. I didn't do it yesterday. It was Monday. It was Monday. Time is weird. Okay, so Friday, I'm not going to go through too much around what I'm doing here, but the solution, I don't even have it written down, is, hey Matthias, the solution is very similar to what we were doing. So we're going to create a function app. We could potentially do all this in Docker, and I actually did. I got it open right here in a Docker container. It's running. I can do the things. But we're going to basically build a function app that will run in a cron job, and every day or every hour or however long the customer wants this to run, we're just going to check to see if our intern created any more scripts. Because the customer has now turned around and said, moving forward, the intern does not get to do this. Nope. He caused too much problems. If he does it again, and we're very stupid and we haven't taken away his... well, he needs privileges because he needs to import the hardware hashes, Ben. Yes, and he's got to publish applications.
He needs global admin, but we don't want him to do the thing. So how do we fix that? Just
everybody's had
scenario.
that conversation, right?
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to monitor to see whether he creates any more scripts. He's been told that if he wants to create scripts, he can, but they have to be proactive remediations.
Well, and also they need to be scoped very tightly, but
yes, exactly.
said intern's not always paying attention.
It's pretty useless. Who is the intern, by the way?
I don't know.
Okay, so let me go here. I think this is it. No, I'm going to go into the other one. So yeah, we basically just want a scheduled task or a cron job that will just check to see whether the intern is doing what he's been asked to. And if he's not, then we want to slap him a little bit because he's an intern and he should be following the rules.
Action.
Exactly. Again, I'm not going to go too in depth with this. We've got 14 minutes. I probably could.
Yeah.
But again, we do the auth dance. We always have to do the auth dance. What we're going to do is a little different this time because we're not actually going to, so the first call that we make is not to scripts and then we're going to filter down. We could do that, but we want to know when the thing happens. So we hit the endpoint for audit events, famously named audit events.
Yeah. Who would have thought what that endpoint
with the
was
filter.
For?
So specifically
Device management audit events even.
Yep, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go filter on activity operation type equals create. So we only want the create events that have happened. And the activity type is, and I love this one, create device management scripts, device management scripts. Again, thank you, Microsoft, for these amazing namings.
It needs to be named twice.
Exactly. So what this will actually do is it's going to give me a forever history of every single time a script was created.
No.
Oh, is there
It scrolls, right? There's always going to be...
What is the time frame?
It depends upon your tenant.
Oh, cool. So the answer is it depends. Okay.
And that's always the case, right? Because it's an audit log, it's sitting there and going, well, this is what's happened in your environment. But if you're in a very large organization that's doing a lot of change and a lot of churn in that setting catalog or in the audit log, then it's going to go through quickly and you're going to want to hit it more often. If it's like the Intune training tenant, we probably could look at policies from a month ago.
Oh, because it's small and it hasn't changed.
And doesn't change.
Cool. So yeah, it depends is the answer. That's great. Thank you for expanding on that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so we're just going to reuse the auth token that we had before because we can. We're going to hit this endpoint and we're just going to see what data we get. And I don't know whether this is going to work, so we'll find out.
Of course it will. The thing to note while Ben's going through this is while we sit there and say the audit log endpoint is a scrolling log and it's got a time box on it and you don't have the ability to query historical data, you can go and set up a diagnostic output and put it into log analytics, storage blob, or Event Hub if you're willing to spend the money.
Yeah. This is just one way to consume and do things with that data. So you know, it's probably not the best. There are other tools and solutions out there, but it's just important to point out that the endpoint's there and we can get that data. So this is the output of that audit events with that specific filter. So we can actually see all of the create scripts and scenarios. We can see who it was done. If we go into actor, you can actually see...
You're an actor?
You're an actor, apparently. Steve at Intune.training. You are very dramatic. But so you can get that information and So the important information here is the ID of what the thing was that was created and the user principal name. For our purposes, that's all we really need. So that's kind of cool. So let's go through and we can kind of see if we can find my one. I hope we can find my one.
There it is.
Where?
Ben,
right here?
there. Yep.
Okay, nice. So we can see that I created the thing and we have the ID. That's enough.
That's an old one though.
It is, yeah. I honestly don't know whether this is going to work.
So it'll be right at the top. This is the one you want.
This one. Okay, cool. So
it's the opposite chronological order in the result back.
Yep.
So the newest is always going to be at the top, the oldest at the bottom. And that's because that's how the audit log comes through in the portal.
So you could just get this data and dot source through to the first entry, but that's not cool. That's not how you should be doing this stuff. The filter gives you the ability to be able to set a time frame. So you can say, hey, just give me the information in the last day. So for our scenario, we want this cron job to run once a day. So that's kind of perfect. So let's check what was created in the last 24 hours. If there was anything, let's just tell the customer immediately and we'll just install this in their environment and we'll be happy. So the filter itself is the exact same thing to do that solution. So we're just going to create a date range. So date time, now, add days -1, set it to universal time, to string, all that sort of stuff. This is the way to do it. The filter, the date format needs to be like this, otherwise it will not work. It took me a little while to figure that one out. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
And then the alert filter again, so activity operation type is create. The activity type is the double name, create device management script, and activity date time is greater than the date range. That gives us, hey, give me any scripts that were created in the last 24 hours. I don't care about what was done before because I've been running this every day. So that should give us what we need. So let me quickly run this. F8. Whoa, that was loud. Okay. That means the demo's gonna be great. Okay, F8.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we're gonna hopefully pipe that into, let's have a look at the result. I'm just gonna run it.
And hit enter.
Okay, cool. So we've got the data. If I go result.value, so we can see there's only one result as opposed to the previous one, which was like 3 or 4.
Correct.
So cool, we've got the same result and we've only got the one thing. So we now know that within 24 hours, a script was created, the idea of it and who did it. And wouldn't you know, it was the intern again.
As always.
So we want to do something about this, okay?
Anyway.
So we've got this information. So the next part we're going to do, we have 8 minutes left. I'll try and get this done quickly. We're going to go through and again, so that was kind of the only code that we had to write for this. The rest of it is what demo 2 was. So we just grab that, chuck it in here. And again, so that's, from the first demo to the second demo to the third demo, we've done a minimal tweaking of the same code base to use the same code in different scenarios.
I think it's
this is
cool.
why I really like PowerShell, because you can do this stuff so quickly.
So long as you write it correctly.
Yeah. Okay, so...
I like top-down scripting and just hard coding everything because it just makes my life entertaining watching Ben freak out.
Exactly. I won't show you the rest of this, but essentially what we do is when we find the script was created by the intern, we'll get that code and we're just going to chuck it into like a blob object or a file in a storage container that is part of the function app. We're going to decode it, just chuck it in as a text file, not as a script, because it could be sketchy.
That's right.
And then we're just going to send that, we're going to send a notification to the customer's team's environment and just say, hey, the intern created another script. Here's the link to go and review what the script was. You should get rid of this guy. Or get rid of his permissions because he keeps doing the thing.
I think permissions is probably more important and probably more easier.
Probably.
Depending on the wide scale impact.
And the Teams message stuff, like working with Teams is really cool. The hero, what's the name of the? Adaptive cards.
Yes.
Once you figure out how to do them, they're really, really cool.
That is so cool.
So I've got a basic function here that I did not write. It was Jordan, one of the guys I work with. He wrote a really cool thing. I tweaked it a little bit to work for this demo. But again, the idea here is that someone's already done the work, so I didn't need to. So we've reused the code. And we use this in production, this Teams notification stuff all the time. So I know it works. It was just a slight tweak to make it look better for what we were doing. Okay, so let's go to the function app itself. I'm going to go to my browser and just show everyone. Okay, so I've got my function app running here. I did need to change a couple of things before and I haven't tested them, so there's a very high chance this isn't going to work.
So the demo gods, we sacrificed that.
I didn't sacrifice enough last night though. I went home early.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got one function. I'm just going to get the endpoint address. I'm going to go into script alert. Everyone note that this is read only because I'm doing source control on this. The idea is that once you turn on source control, and this is something I didn't talk about in my first session, once you turn source control off, it sets the function in the Azure portal to read only so that you can't go in and make changes because just because you're doing source control, maybe someone else doesn't know and they'll go in and you can turn that off, but like the idea is that once you set that up, the pipeline is from your editor and then you...
The thing to note on that as well is, and I can't remember what it was, but we worked with one of our friends in the MVP community where they were using it direct edit, and it was going in and changing the configuration of the function app when it was saved, so he couldn't run more than, I think it was 100 actions on the endpoint.
I don't know whether that's a problem anymore on version 4. I think that's been fixed, but there was a scenario where creating the function from the portal and doing the code in the portal was so unoptimized that like it's kind of been forgotten, and there's things that are better if you do it from VS Code. So
yeah.
the short answer is do everything in VS Code for your function apps.
Yeah.
Development, pipeline, everything.
Always commit your code for function apps, whether it's VS Code, whether it's full Visual Studio. Just check your code in.
Okay, so as I said, in this scenario, we'd set this up in a cron job, but cron jobs in demos don't work. I'm not going to wait a minute for the thing to run. So I've just flipped this to be a HTTP endpoint, so I'm just going to trigger it now. I'm just going to go IRM. No, that's not going to work. Hang on. Also, everyone take a photo of this code, because it's a password.
What password?
Just pause the recording.
That's right.
We're going to go get, and URI
They're going to like the result.
They are going to like the result. Let's just see what happens. I don't know whether it's going to work. There should be no output on this. We might get a result back, but the idea is that because it's going to be a cron job, you don't need to see results. You could potentially pipe that out to a table or something and know that it's been running, and you can sort of have historical data.
Well, that's where you go and subscribe to the audit logs of the function app with your function app to then monitor
And then
that.
it just keeps looping and looping and looping, and then you run out of money. So, okay.
Don't do that.
Ooh, that's cool. I also output the token for my authentication. So everyone take a photo of that, because that'll last about 3 minutes. I think that worked. Let's go and have a look at our Teams channel. Hey, yup. Done.
Yeah.
Oh, it might not have worked. Oh, no, it totally did.
Yep.
Okay. So this is the output.
Yep.
The Intune script creation alert. Script metadata is below, uploaded by the intern. That guy is an idiot.
Go intern.
What's the name of it? When was it created? And then the script content. If we click on that, I didn't actually change it to .txt. So click on the link that says obvious virus on it.
.ps1.
It's going to download that.
Hey,
obvious virus.ps1 could harm your device. Do you want to keep it anyway? Yeah, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it.
You know we do.
I really do. Okay, so we've already done this. So we know what it is. Write host. Also, does everyone know that the viewer in Windows 11 in the Explorer uses the VS Code engine? So if you've got like regions, you can actually fold the code in the editor, so you can review the code without opening VS Code. I saw that the other day, and
yeah, he really did.
It's the
flip
coolest
out.
thing in the world.
Entertaining.
Okay, so
we've got to run that. Like,
we've got two
obviously,
lines.
we've got to run it.
What does it do? What do you think it does?
I don't know. Well, I know what it does, but
okay. Oh, an ad?
And you got to accept the cookie.
Let's just get past this ads. 20 seconds. Oh, Nick,
Egal wie dein Urlaub aussieht, es ist die beste Zeit für deinen...
Okay, let's do this one more. Okay, so for anyone that was paying attention, all of the GIFs in our session were from one specific movie.
You're so sexy.
This is also, it's kind of like a Rickroll, but it's less bad.
Yeah.
Has everyone seen, what's Empire Records? It's an old one, but it's a good one. Strongly recommend.
Yeah.
The joke's kind of fallen flat.
It has.
Okay, that's the end of the demo. We've definitely got questions, and hopefully we've got some questions.
And we have a t-shirt.
We have a t-shirt. I'm not telling anyone what the size is. If it's too big or if it's too small, you just cut the logo out and make a battle jacket. Who wants? Okay, I'm going to do this.
Well, no. We need to have questions.
Okay, fine. Okay, let me pause this. That's better. I was just going to throw it in
I know
there.
you were, but like, we've got a minute and a half. So, all right, questions.
Function without writing unattended.
So the question is, how do you do the MCell authentication without having to write a whole heap of code?
Yeah, I can show that.
This is the man that would be able to go down to the API calls.
Yeah, I can. So again, everything that I used was using the mcell.ps module, which is written and maintained by someone that works at Microsoft on the mcell framework. So it's just an interpretation of the library that is just written in .NET. So you can use this in any language you want, but the PowerShell version is mcell.ps. So the quickest way, let me just show you. We'll go into, I'll create a new one. Set this language, PowerShell. All right, so we're just gonna go token equals get mcell token, not Azure Stream Analytics output. Am I? Oh, I'm in the Docker container. I don't have the module. Okay, I'll just do it over here. Language, PowerShell.
Your
token.
default's not PowerShell?
It's not, no. So get mcell token. So we put in the client ID, whatever the app is that you're using. So in this demo, we use the known, there's like a generic one for all the sample code who does the sample code? Someone at Microsoft writes all the sample code for, like if you don't do graph stuff, there's really good examples there. And there's just a generic Intune ID.
That generic Intune ID is not just for the sample code, it's for any PowerShell commandlets that are using Intune.
Yeah. So once you've played around with this enough, your tenant will probably already have permissions to use that.
100%.
So you can just reuse that as your auth, and it's it's going to give you the permissions you need to do anything in Intune. So it's really good for like scaffolding and testing stuff. But then once you're actually going to do production, make your own ad and
it doesn't allow multi-tenancy and things like that. That's where you need to create your own application and control that.
So with the mcell token, depending on how you want to auth, so I did device code, so it was interactive. But if you wanted to do this non-interactive, you would put in a client secret or a certificate or whatever. So we go tenant. So your tenant ID would be the domain or the ID of your tenant. And then you make a decision on how you want to authenticate. So is it going to be interactive? Is it going to be device code flow? Is it going to be client secret? Yeah, whatever. This is how you do that. You make that decision. So if you were going to do client secret, there's a couple of things. It needs to be a secure string. Things like it's forcing you to write good code, essentially. But that's it. It's one line, and you get the token. Once you've got that, it will also then allow you to, if you get mcell token down the line and you've already got a token in the cache, it will just refresh that for you, which is really cool. If you want to force it to refresh, there's an option to force refresh, and it would ask you to auth again. So yeah, it's fantastic.
It's simple, and that's the goal, is making it as simple as possible. It's a one command line, away you go.
Definitely. Probably one more question if anyone has one. Go for it.
Also, concerning authentication, I'm facing the issue that we have privileged identity management in place, and the thing I do is that I first authenticate, then I try to reach an endpoint that meets the privileged identity management.
Yep.
And catch the 403 error.
Sure. Okay. So in that scenario.
Question?
Oh, okay. So sorry. The question. Thank you for catching me out on that one. So the question was, if you've got privileged identity management configured, and you're trying to do this work and you forgot to PIM yourself.
Yes.
I do this all the time as well. Don't worry. Then you're going to get problems with the authentication. The solution is don't do it with your account. Create a service principal or a managed identity that has the permissions, that is secure, and then use that as your authentication. So create one that's got the permissions you need for the thing, use the ID, secret or certificate or whatever you want for the auth, then you don't have to worry about PIM. And then your account's secure, your company is happy, and then this thing only gets used for whatever you're working with.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but there is also a command line or module for PIM elevation.
Yes, there is. I haven't. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely PowerShell implementations to do that. Yep. But I think the scenario is you forget to, and it's something that I always do. So,
but this is where what you could do is, if you know that you need PIM in your environment,
Yeah,
you could.
I think that in the catch block,
Yep.
I invoked the PIM.
Oh, sure.
Then I can get the correct token back.
Yep.
Oh, because
I
it,
was not there.
that's a timing thing. So how many people here used PIM in your environment? How many people love watching the timer go down to say you now have access to everything, go and sign out and sign in? It's fantastic, right? It's a lot better than what it used to be. But in that scenario, make sure you put like a sleep of, I'd probably put between 30 and 60 seconds for the endpoints to update to have that permission associated with it. Or what you could do is do while, and then look at the scope that's associated with the token to say
whether you've got the correct permissions.
You've got the permissions or not. Because
I just want to say also that this scenario that you're talking about and that you're talking about only works if your PIM implementation is audit only. If you're then also waiting for someone to approve that, you're going to be waiting a really long time. So don't reinvent that wheel. Just use managed identities. They're there for a reason. because PIM is really important, and managed identities is the solution for when you need an account that doesn't have PIM.
Exactly.
Sweet. Okay, thank you. That was the thing.
Yep.
Thank you, Matthias. Yep.